Okay, welcome. We are going to announce a winner here. My videos, or my vid, yeah, my vid, yeah, there's two videos. My videos for these two, grading these two, have not been released yet, even though I had already filmed it. They essentially were a tie. Um, because if you decide to watch the videos and if you're wondering why the points don't match from what I say, is because the moment I cut the video out, I had knew that there's a big piece of me where I'm lying to myself, and I actually really genuinely thought that both were like 9.5s across the board. And I do elaborate as to why I think that across the board. So there's that. Additionally, which is why we needed a secondary judge, which is SCDPS, which I picked on the like quickly on the spot. I've been talking to him about it since I was in Japan that I was gonna do this tournament, um, and I asked him super quick at the time, and he was like, "Oh yeah, not like during in Japan necessarily, but when we released this, and he was helping me do the artwork, um, or announce the tournament around the time when we were going to announce the tournament when he did the drawings for the server icon and like the coin logo. Well, it's even though it's the same thing. um I already had talked to him about it, being a backup judge possibly. I didn't think we would get to that point, but we did. But I you can visually see that I felt pretty like conflicted. And now I get to elaborate because we're going to announce a winner. Why I felt conflicted, which is really fun. And it's not because like, oh, I met like Watto in person or like that. Um, I'm giving him like extra point. Like there was difficulty in that. I know. I feel like someone out there is gonna be like, oh, like you know the guy or whatever, right? And that's like completely false. If anything, it was the opposite. I felt more targeted by Anonymous's mod because the people who know me know that I've been pursuing creating mods where everything and every piece is entirely clear. And that's why it felt I had like an emotional play into his mod because I felt that like this is what I'm really interested and I'm into right now. And it felt like it wasn't a fair test against if I was the only judge. And now that we look into SCD's feedback on how on his on his comments on how it judged, which get into here in a minute, um, I won't be changing my scores because that would be wrong. They all when I graded it, they were all 9.5 across the board, and we're going to keep that, which is why we have a tiebreaker judge. But yeah, let's not waste any other time and then try to elaborate into what SCT's scores were and why I also agree with it. For Anonymous's mod, he provided complexity of 8, originality and function of 7, and cleanliness score of 10, which I I agree because it's just it doesn't really cut anything, right? Um, Whereas Watto's scored a complexity of 10, which actually makes sense. Originality of 8 because it is his personal mod and whatnot. Um, it gets mentioned, and a cleanliness of 9. Um, so let's get into that. Okay, so for complexity, he said that I feel like Anonymous's mission is more on the simple side. Watto's has more complexity in it and consists of more materials while seemingly using no adhesive, which I agree. There's a lot of play into that. Even though there's only two pieces of sections that Anonymous mod uses adhesive, and it doesn't. It shows if you look at a very tight angle, which I mentioned in my video. Which he never got to see my video, just so you guys are aware. Which I'm starting to like. If I were to regrade, which I will not be regrading, like these make sense to me. And the originality and function, he mentions that they're both inspired by pre-existing mods. Therefore, I focus more on the functionality, while both of them are able to write, or while both of them are writable. Watto takes the cake with mechanical pencil function. I mean, pencil functions are a pain in the butt to make. It's like a horrid nightmare because everything has to be the right length. So the complexity in that, I feel like he nailed a little bit better than how I graded it. Cleanliness wise, both of them are super clean, though it would have been even more helpful if Watto provided us with more detailed pictures. That I also agree. But he also knows that there was this wild card for the grading, is that like, and I want to reiterate this because it's the final video for announcing the winner, even though like you guys probably know the winner already off these scores, is that the wild card is if you were willing to take more pictures, does this shoot you in the foot or does it help you? Because if you were to look at Watto's mod on the outside, you can visibly see that if you only like took a glance at it, they both look equally as complex, right? Possibly if you didn't have the modding knowledge, maybe Anonymous's looks slightly more complex because it's all metal pieces that seem to wind down together, right? But when you get into the weeds, the fact that we have the understanding, which is why we are able to judge. I don't think anyone should be allowed to judge if you can't actually tell the complexity of like how many pens are used inside of a mod without being provided a tutorial. I feel like that's really important at play. So that's why I actually resonate a lot with what STD says for this piece. Because you can visibly see, like I mentioned in the grading video, like I have no idea what he did here again. Like I've recreated his pen before. But yeah, I won't ramble too much about that. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where like I'm the one elaborating how to make the pen for you, and it's now up to our interpretation as judges for like, well, just how hard was that actually to make, right? And we do know, I would argue that we know just enough where, without exposing the tutorial, how complex this all is. And that's not to take away how complex Anonymous's mod is to make, because he has to find all those stupid metal parts that fit into a thing, and then on top of it, I think that he brought up a new connection piece, like that the ability to connect an opt body piece onto I'm blanking on the freaking name of those spin pro it's a spin pro body. It was pretty unique, and he's using like pens and hardware pieces together to get it all to blend in. But when you factor in, like, is it true using more pens is generally more complex? Yeah, that's generally pretty true, because the thought process that you need to use, that knowing that these X amount of pens exist and this one piece is the deciding factor that's going to hold X thing in place, right? Becomes the difficulty and the knowledge space gap on what you know is available out to you, right? I think it's really important that if you want to be a professional modder, that I want to elaborate further into this topic with like some bullet points in the future at some point, especially when I have time, is that like, if you want to be a really good modder, can you be a very good modder just knowing the pens in your region with the correct creativity, absolutely. Anonymous does it like probably better than anyone that I know in terms of like his limitations. I don't think I can even point out anyone else in the modding scene that does it better than him. But I think maybe, and a lot of people are going to argue like, oh, that's such a you thing, because you have a job, and the people who know me will be like, you work nonstop, so of course you can afford what you afford, because I basically work like two things and pen stuff is like a slight. I don't remember having to spend that much money on pens, unless if I'm traveling. Um, but what I find what I want to get into specifically and elaborate in the future is that like I think it's incredibly important that you talk to people, other people that mod, and that you travel abroad to see what's available out there. Like especially with the limitations of like how I mod, but like everyone has their take on creativity and everyone has their knowledge base. And if you don't talk to them, you can't expand your knowledge. You can't do, while you can do it alone, not doing it alone benefits you greater than the people who don't go out of their way. Like that's just a factual thing, right? It's no different from like networking with people, right? Um, and Wado being Japanese, like he's got access to a lot more stuff, right? The community is like a lot more active, I guess you is the best is really the best way to put it, right? And their average knowledge base for stuff is a lot higher, and I'm not saying it because oh Scotty likes like all the stuff in Japan anyways. It's because like if you guys knew, if only if I could elaborate the stuff that I knew from all the three times I've been to Japan and talking to people and the amount of things that I've learned in comparison to while I plan to go to Europe next year, and all the people that I've talked to for like modding throughout my time, they Japan is one of the biggest hubs for oh I wouldn't have ever thought about doing that, and there's a lot of stuff that I've carried through because of that. And if I had to name any other regions that have that strong backing, Taiwan probably also has that strong backing. I don't know if Singapore's that active anymore, unfortunately, but what you might start to notice is like a lot of the Asia regions do the more difficult style of modding, and because I've like traveled to like X amount of places in my time, I I see and note the difference, and I might align with their modding style a little bit more. Um, but it still doesn't take away the fact that having that knowledge base and having to know that there's all these pens available to you, the complexity becomes higher when you make a mod with that many pens. It's just like it's like literally an irrefutable statement. Um, because you have to intuitively know what's the best piece that fits for X piece. And I think this is also like I'm kind of rambling. I am, but to wrap it up, that's also why I'm so bad at like making my own pens. So in comparison to Vortex, I actually feel like Vortex actually makes more original pens than me. Well, not feel, he does. He simply does. And how did I grow so nitpicky? Um, was talking to all these people. Um, Everyone pushed me to make things harder, and I enjoy the difficulty. Actually, and it's people might not remember this, but actually, it was SCD is one of the people who pushed the limit on like how clean a pen could be made. I remember not doing the stuff that I did today until I saw his pens and I was like, holy crap, I can make stuff so much more cleaner. What am I doing? And if anyone ever came, like, got to meet me in person, I promise you, I keep all my mods that I've made. You would see the progression of like how clean my stuff is now in comparison to maybe around like 2018 from my recollection. Like, there's a massive gap in cleanliness from then since then, and throughout that time I've only increased my complexity. um and that's why like you never see anything like really original made by me, because like I travel and I work essentially like two jobs and I have access to like so many different pens that my knowledge base is just so overwhelmed that like if you ever wonder why, you're like, this guy makes just stuff that's already readily available, not because I'm lazy, but but what's going through my mind when I make a pen is has gone so out of the norm of what a normal person might do that yeah, that's why I am the way I am, and I hope that helps people understand why the judging is set this way. If that makes any sense. I don't dock points for people who have the ability to create great things with just the stuff that they have around them, and in fact, that's harder. It's done in the Philippines by Anonymous, and actually Korea by Fairy Tale. Like, those are actually, yeah, that's the second person that does it. I don't enjoy doing it because, like, I am who I am. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up from there. But yeah, that makes Watto the winner based off of SCD score with a difference of 2. But hey, man, I don't know. I'm assuming Anonymous is gonna watch this. I would definitely say don't let this get you down, bring you down. You've always had really original, like, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Stuff, like, more often, like more than anyone else. Because you're stuck with that limitation, and I see that with your modding and Fairy Tales modding. Um, if I do another one next year, which I can't promise. I don't promise stuff that far down in my life. Um, I hope you participate. Hope you stay with the hobby, of course. Um, but yeah, don't let 2 points bring you down just because you get second place. And I know getting second place sucks. I don't want to make this video too long, but trust me, I've been there more times than you think. Um, I promise with my life, like, not because I'm older, but from my past life. I promise you, I've been in second place way more than you think, and it sucks. And I don't need to tell you that it sucks. Um, yeah, you did a really good job, man. But yeah, congratulations to Watto. You'll be getting coin. Only speak Japanese, which is totally fine. I will use the Japanese knowledge that I have to get that coin over to you. But yeah, congrats. Beyond that, future stuff for this channel when I have time. Hopefully, I have that kind of time. I don't want to promise anything. I'm good at not promising stuff because I hate lying to people. So maybe there will be other stuff here and there, as time allows it. I've gotten to the point where I'm in the part of my pen career where I always ask myself, maybe I should share more about pen stuff that I privately know. But everyone, the people who know me know that, like, I'm a very, very private person. So I also think that I would not be in the position where I am with the knowledge that I have now if I probably wasn't as private as I was. Um, I actually really do think that. But yeah, congrats, man. And then we'll see if there's a I have time or if the motivation or figure out a way to lower the cost of this next year, yeah, maybe there'll be another one. But yeah, no promises. Thank you everyone for participating. I hope you all continue to mod, and yeah, I will be around. You feel free to contact me. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up from there.